are wonderful, thank you. I'm so glad you said that. There's lots to know about Stoke. It has a very industrial background. It was a potteries town, it was a mining town. And in the mid-1980s, all of that collapsed. There was the miners' strike. I was at high school in the middle of the miners' strike. I had friends coming to school who literally had no shoes because their dad had been on strike for so long and their mum was working in the pot bank earning a pittance, and poverty was all around me. Now, I wasn't particularly poor. I was highly privileged because my dad was an electrician, not a miner, and my mum was a childminder. So there was a little bit more comfort in my home, but I was the first child to even think about doing well in education. There was a thing at my school that if you did well in education, you were a freak. I was a freak. I used to deliberately fail things to not look like a freak. So that's my background. Psychology. I did a bit of psychology in the foundation year. It looks easy. I'll put that with biology. Didn't really know very much about it. So I'm a mature student. I've got a very small baby. She was 4 months old when I started my degree. And I've got no skills, no confidence, a gap in my education, and I really don't think I fit in. Somehow, I learned what to do and how to do it. I learned to play the game. I was the first in my family to go to university. I couldn't go to my big brother or my sister and go, how on earth do you do this? It was just me. And that was a struggle. And life happened all the way through my degree. Life just kept happening, as it does. Somehow, through a lot of hard work and the fact that actually having a baby meant that I wasn't going out, I stayed at home a lot, I got myself a first-class degree. And so I got some funding from the Higher Education Academy to do some research into assessment and feedback for students. This is an interesting thing for me because at the time the National Student Survey had just started. Students were saying they didn't like assessment and feedback, they didn't learn from it. And I was thinking, feedback is a fundamental psychological principle of how we learn. Students aren't using it, staff are spending ages doing it and it's not being valued. They feel like they're not valued, students feel like they're not valued. How do we solve this? So starting to think about feedback as a communication process that's very psychological, and did a mixed methods project looking at surveys of everybody's different views of feedback, and then starting to think about using some qualitative methods to explore experiences of feedback from both sides of that dialogue, staff and students alike. I've used networks throughout my career, and I think that's a really important thing. So I started out working with the Association for the Teaching of Psychology. I've done a lot with the British Psychological Society and with what was the Higher Education Academy. They've now merged with 2 other organisations, Advanced HE. They've got me out there. They've enhanced my profile, and that's what's helped me to succeed. They've given me a platform to speak from about all of these issues. And so now I'm a reader in psychology, I'm a director of learning and teaching. I've had to take on quite a lot of management roles. I enjoy that. It allows me to have an impact on other people. And part of what I do is around academic development and developing other university teachers to help them with their teaching practice. And I'm carrying out research. Now, I'm on a teaching-focused contract. And that's an interesting place to be because I don't get time in my workload for research, but I do it anyway because I love it. If you do it even better, instead of just impacting on my own students, I can hit my colleagues and they hit their students too, and the ripple's gone out another level. And if you keep going, you get invited to international conferences, and you can deliver training, and you can have an international impact on learning and teaching. And that's where my National Teaching Fellowship comes from, and that's why I've got promoted to reader, and I'm kind of on that upward track. My concluding thoughts. One is it's a bit of an uphill struggle having this teaching-focused career pathway, and also there's lots of choices. But if you take the wrong turn, just like on the picture on the left, sometimes you can just loop back round, or you can take a different route. You still get to somewhere that's worthwhile being. Started out as a neuroscientist. We heard it from Carolyn this morning as well. Started out as a computer scientist, ended up as a fashion psychologist, or psychologist who works in fashion.